Think that you travel to the past and kill your grandfather before he meets and marry your grandmother. If it happened, there's no any way for the existence of your father. If your father does not exist, how can you exit? If there is no one called your father, how can you born? Ho, stop for a moment. If your existence was totally eradicated, who traveled to the past and killed your grandfather? Did you get confused? Yes, you must be. This is the grandfather paradox, which can be seen in backward time traveling. So, don't you like to know more about this mind-blowing paradox? So, continue watching this video. We will discuss about this. In my previous video, I brought you about the twin paradox. So, if you watched that, you know what is called a time traveling paradox. If you missed that, I invite you to watch that also. There, I clearly mentioned that this type of paradoxes occur at the event of backward time traveling. So, this grandfather paradox also occurs at the event of backward time traveling. In this scenario, the ultimate goal of our time traveler is to eradicate his existence and stop his birth. To make his goal success, he decides to kill his grandfather before he meet his grandmother and marry her. If he can be success, it means grandfather gets killed before he marry his wife, that is the time traveler's grandmother. There's no way of borning your father. Without your father, there is no existence for you. That is the conclusion of any can have at the first glance. If you don't have any existence, who traveled to the past and killed your grandfather? This is the causal loop in this scenario, and that is why this situation is called as grandfather paradox. Can you explain this phenomena? Although we just keep this away labeling as illusions, these type of things get discussed among scientific community. Because of that, we can find number of contradictory ideas regarding this grandfather paradox. Some people says that this grandfather paradox vividly prove that the backward time traveling can never be done. But the scientists who are in the thirst of time traveling don't like to accept this conclusion. So they seek the solace of two theories in order to solve this entangled grandfather paradox. The very first theory is the Novikov self-consistency principle. This theory says that although the time traveler can travel to the past across the time, he can't do any change to the past time frames which can do any significant change to the present activities. So, if we try to substitute this Novikov self-consistency principle in the grandfather paradox, it says although the time traveler can time travel to the period of his grandfather, when he tries to slaughter his grandfather, he gets failed due to various scenarios. But how can this be explained scientifically? This thing can be explained using unseen world, ghost activities, god activities, and so and so. This situation can't be explained being inside a scientific frame. Therefore, Novikov self-consistency principle gets failed in explanation of grandfather paradox. But our second theory, which is called as theory of multiverses, also known as theory of many universes, provides a super massive, a beautiful explanation regarding this grandfather paradox. According to this theory, the time traveler who travels to the past lands in a different timeline. Although it is a very similar timeline to the timeline in which he lived, the characters are completely different. This theory of multiverses is a very complex theory. This can be explained using quantum physics, but it can't be done using one or two words. I will bring you a separate video explaining this theory of multiverses as soon as possible. So I will explain this theory of multiverses to be suited for today's topic, which is called grandfather paradox. Think that there is a friend of yours in your present timeline, and when you travel to the past in the incident of grandfather paradox, you can see your friend. But here, that friend is a separate person from your friend who was at your present timeline. It means you don't have any connection with that person. It means even that person don't recognize you. In nutshell, he is not your friend, but he is only a other person, stranger. So when you substitute this theory of multiverses in the grandfather paradox, the grandfather who gets killed by you in a separate timeline is not your real grandfather. It means you don't have any connection with that old man. So although that old man gets killed, there is no any effect from that to your existence. So that is why your existence does not get eradicated. And this theory of multiverses is the best tool which we can use to explain this grandfather paradox completely. Anyhow, backward time traveling must be able to perform prior to exhibit the grandfather paradox. If you watch my forward time traveling and backward time traveling videos, you are having a very good idea about these time traveling principles. If you have not yet watched them, I invite all of you to watch them. So this is the end of today's video. If you get any knowledge from this video, I invite all of you to share my content among your friends. So let me sign off for today. We will meet with another video as soon as possible. I am Madhujit Sagar.